Welcome to Stick to Rugby, brought to you by Defender. Now, this episode, SQ, we've stepped away from a rugby player, we've stepped away from a sportsman or woman, and we have gone for an actor, a Welsh actor, which is great for us, Philip Glenister.
Legend.
Yes.
And do you know him?
Yes, I do know him. We played in, remember what was the golf tournament we used to play in?
The Celebrity Cup.
Celebrity Cup.
Of course, you played in that one.
Yeah.
He is,
Don't know why I played in it.
honestly, when Life on Mars is one of the greatest programmes that I used to watch. He was absolutely incredible in that. And every time I see him, I just think he's going to grab hold of me, chuck me against the wall, and give me the old, you know what I mean? Couple of quid, and you can get out of here. Couple of quid, you can get out there. Oh, he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But more than that, he's just got the best stories. Cannot wait. But right, if you were there and you must have thought, who was going to play Tom Shanklin in a movie? Who would it be?
Is The Rock too obvious? Is The Rock too obvious?
Yeah, and Van Diesel.
All right. What about Vin Diesel?
Is it Van or Vin? Vin Diesel.
He might drive a van.
Van Diesel. No, I was thinking of a diesel van.
I think Van Diesel's from Wish.
Vin Diesel. Oh, you are Vin Diesel.
What about you? Who play you?
I don't know. Who's because the problem is with all these television personalities is that they look big on the telly, don't they? And then you see them, they're all tiny.
I tell you what, if Steve Spears...
Oh, he could play you.
Yes, if we could just get him on some sort of training plan for a couple of weeks, he would be... Because he is one of the... He's a funny bloke, man.
He's the funniest.
He's just got funny bones in his body.
I was on Stella with Steve. He wrote my first script on Stella.
On the show?
On the show.
You went on the base.
And it was absolutely incredible. And it just involved running over and knocking people out the way. And I had this scene when I was talking to the team and they were all dressed up. And then I turned and I run and I hit through these two pads. And the director came up to Steve and said, how do we know that Scott will get through the pads? And Steve said, just trust me. And I went in and I hit the first one and the two guys went out the shot and
exploded.
The director came back and said, can you not hit them so hard next time? I said, I do apologise. I haven't done much TV before.
You've done a bit of acting though, haven't you now?
Yeah. I was on with Babs. I was on Tourist Trap.
Yes.
And that was the funniest thing.
I had a cameo role in that as well.
Oh, that's brilliant. But was yours all ad-lib?
Yes.
And it was just the best. We had half an hour and they showed about 20 seconds of it.
That's the same.
20 seconds of it. And it was just the best experience ever. We just sat down and just riffed it for half an hour. It was absolutely fabulous. Anyway, this time of year, you know, there's only one thing on everybody's mind. The darts. Have you ever been to the Ali Pali?
Nope.
Haven't you?
Nope.
Oh, do you know, this has got you written all over it.
I know.
This has got you written all over it.
I know.
Because you go there and you dress up and you have the best time and you all shout at the people in the seats, you can't afford a table. You can't afford a table. You can't afford the table. And they shout back at you. I don't know, because I've never been up there. And it's the best atmosphere.
No, it does appeal to me.
You got to go.
Fancy dress, you can be inconspicuous, can't you? I won't have to sign autographs, have loads of photos with everyone.
Well, not unless you go dressed as Vin Diesel.
Ali G. What would your nickname be then, your darts name?
Well, I actually went to the darts in 2018 and I've got Wayne Mardell, the brilliant commentator and darts player, he christened me Scotty Too Hotty.
Nice.
And I've actually got the darts jersey in the house.
Scotty Too Hotty.
It's in between my Barbarian jersey and my Welsh jersey.
That's not a bad one.
What would yours be?
The Tank.
Oh, Shank the Tank.
Yeah.
Oh, would you do that when you win?
Would you
do that when you win? No?
Yeah. Like that.
Roger, it's lovely to meet you. And he said, very nice to meet you. Back in the day, you used to live in Church Road in Stanmore. And he said, I did. And was like, So you were my stalker. Window down. I said, what do you want? I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, you're following me. Why? He said, how did you know? And I looked at him and I went, well, believe it or not, I play a fucking detective. And I'm tucking away and I suddenly hear this voice, you know. I look up and he went, morning. I went,
He landed on the top of me, he hit me, I hit him, he hit me. This went on for about 5 seconds, but felt like about a minute.
and my dad said, oh, what's that then? I said, I've been offered a place at drama school. And he went, oh no. But as he's got older, you know, he's sort of become a bit more like that Master Wade, you know. All these lines. Oh, great, I've got more lines and lines. Now, I'm like, oh, please don't give me it.
Welcome to Stick to Rugby.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
It's amazing. We look at the list of things that you've done, and it is pretty impressive. Ashes to Ashes, Life on Mars, Mad Dogs, Clocking Off, Steel Town Murders. The list goes on and on. So
Poirot.
Have you?
Poirot.
It was in Poirot.
The Bill.
Oh,
The
the bill.
You weren't the feet in the bill, were
Do you know
you?
what?
Yes.
I still get royalties. New pair of shoes every year. But
Who knew that would be like the opening scene of something incredible?
remember that?
Two
Yeah.
people walking.
It's the most iconic as well, isn't it? When
the
people are
sound
walking away.
music.
What are you doing? We're doing the bill. And you just see
What was the
feet
police
fall
station
away.
called?
Yeah.
What?
Sunny
Hill.
Hill.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sunny Hill,
Sunny
that's
Hill.
it.
But yeah, no, I remember that it was one of those things when I remember a few years back, somebody came up to me in the supermarket or wherever it was and said, oh, I know you. Where do I know you from? So I said, on the telly, you know. Yes,
Oh,
it's
pennies
me.
dropped.
Yeah, and then they go, what are you in? So you go through your entire CV,
Yeah, they go,
all the big stuff, you know, and then you get to like, and they go, no. No. And you get, well, I did about 3 lines in the bill in 1992. They go, that's it. So I've learned now, if somebody comes up and says, you know, in the supermarket or shop, whatever, and they go, where do I know you from? I just say, I shop here a lot.
Chuckle Vision.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
Crime Watch is the other one, Crime Watch.
What were you in Poirot then? Were you...
Poirot?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I was, that's a very good question.
It was the last ever Poirot, wasn't
It was the last
wow.
curtain, it was called.
Yeah.
Was that good?
You finished it.
Finish on a high.
I played a poshy actually.
Okay.
Sir, I think he was a sir. I remember being on the phone having to go, damn blast and fuck the other classes. and yeah, it was a bit of a. It was really that because I was with the same agent as David Suchet, and I'd done this thing called Hidden a few years previously in Belfast. We filmed it, and David very kindly came in to guest in that. And it was on set, and he said to me, you haven't done a Poirot, have you? And I said, no. And he said, well, will you come and do one? We want to do the last 3. And I was in the theatre at the time. I was at the National doing a play, and I said, well, if they could work around me, then I'll come and do it. So they did, and so, you know, I sort of just came in and did a few days on it. And but, you know, it's true that David does stay in character. As soon as he gets that moustache on,
Really?
he becomes Urquell. Yeah. In the makeup chair.
Does he shuffle along like Urquell as well?
He was in the wheelchair at that point because it was the last ever one, so Poirot was sort of dying. But it's true, you're in the makeup trailer, he's at the top bit there, and he's sort of just talking away, being David and lovely and gorgeous, and the next minute it's like, so Philippe, and I'm like, what? How are you, my friend? Very good. Bravo, Philippe, bravo. And I called him Tintin by mistake, just for a laugh, because the other Belgian detective. Isn't it?
Yeah.
We had a little chat in the car about stuff that we'd been on TV. Have you been in anything? Have you had a
I
cameo
have
or anything?
literally nothing.
Not yet.
Maybe not yet, yeah. I'd like to be a baddie.
Yeah.
baddie,
I feel like
She's had a couple of real bad red cards in her career that we found out later on.
an inner baddie in me somewhere, you
The
know.
best parts.
They are, aren't they? Nobody remembers the goodies anyway.
Yeah.
I have done the opening scene for Cardiff's Got the X Factor when the auditions came to Wales. Me and Alan Wynne-Jones, we did it. So
What did you have to do?
yeah, so
Show us.
just to do that.
That's
all you had to do.
That's what we do in
That
costume
was it.
drama.
Yeah.
You do Adam and the Ants.
Yeah.
You did it on
Took me a while to get
Belgravia
into
to turn up
character.
on set like this. Morning.
Before we get really stuck into it, because we're halfway there now, we're going to play a little game. We always generally start with a game to warm you up. So,
Right.
obviously, it's fair to say you've read a few lines, and this game is all about one-liners. So I'm going to give you a statement, and you have to reply with the first word that comes to your mind.
Oh, God. Okay.
Hollywood.
Rory McIlroy.
Rory McIlroy lived in Hollywood.
Oh, did he?
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland.
Yes.
So we get away
not
from
know
that.
The hacker.
Morris dancing. I always thought when they do that, all that stuff, the England team or whoever should just go like, right, we'll just do a bit of Morris dancing. That would,
I would love to see Gage do that.
Yeah,
Could
be
you
fantastic.
imagine? Auditioning for a role.
Pain in the arse.
Pineapple on pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's the first one we've had a yes from.
Yes.
Yeah, it's...
I don't mind it.
In the world.
I have eaten it. I wouldn't choose it.
Well, it's obviously
choice of
popular, isn't it?
pizza.
Otherwise it wouldn't be on
I
sale.
Exactly.
like pineapple on my pizza.
Oh, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Favourite rugby team?
Wales.
Oh, jeez. It's going to take a turn.
No, I mean, yeah. It's shameful to say at the moment.
It is. It really is. You get 2 words for this one. An actor to play yourself in a film.
Richard Burton.
I was just going to say
You
this.
slipped into a bit of Richard Burton then.
Oh, sort of Danny boy. Come in, Danny boy. Come in, Danny boy.
Your sporting hero.
My sporting hero?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Do you know what? My first sporting hero, I would say, was Bjorn Borg.
Oh, good one.
Great one.
Yeah.
That's...
I wrote to Bjorn Borg.
Did you?
Yeah, because he lived in Monte Carlo, I just wrote Bjorn Borg, the Bjorn Borg Sports Shop, Monte Carlo.
No way.
Yeah. And 3 weeks later, got a signed autograph.
Did you?
Yeah.
Sent back. Wow.
I shouldn't say it, but I do love it when tennis players lose their heads. Because it's gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's gone.
Well, they can't
completely.
now because of all the they don't have line judges anymore, so they can't argue, which is a bit boring.
It took me ages to work that out because in Wimbledon this year, you still get a human voice that shouts it. So someone still shouts out, but there's no one stood there looking at the lines. It's just computer generated with a human voice.
Oh.
Do you know what one of my claims to fame?
You're the voice.
You're the voice.
No, one of my claims to fame is when McEnroe had his famous, I do not believe it, cannot believe it, you know what I mean? So the umpire that day used to be my dentist.
You nearly said touch judge.
That's
then,
right,
didn't you?
he said touch judge. I can't go.
The umpire?
The umpire.
Used to be your dentist?
Used to be my dentist. I was sat in the dentist going, I was only like, so 8 or 9, and he used to go down there, and he used to tell the story of that whilst he was giving you a new tooth or pulling a tooth out, and it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. My claim to fame.
Final one. Cooking Christmas dinner for your family.
A chore.
A chore. It
was the sigh before.
Stick to Rugby is brought to you by Defender.
Growing up, were you sporty growing up?
Yeah, I used to play a lot of football. Trouble is, I went to a school, comprehensive school, back in the 70s, and the only sport we literally did was football. There was no rugby, there was no cricket. In the summer, sometimes they played cricket in the summer, but we never had that. But I remember we had a teacher, Mr. Jones, who was a chemistry teacher, but he was a passionate rugby player. Yeah. So we used to sometimes go around the back of the school, the little playing field area, and we used to play a bit of rugby with Mr. Jones. You know, so
like it was a naughty thing.
Yeah, but he was like the teacher.
Yeah.
He was great, and he was always good fun, and he was passionate about. He was obviously very Welsh and passionate about his rugby. And then rugby really was through my mother.
Yeah,
I would say.
She's from Swansea.
And she's not. Yeah, she's from Swansea, and she's not a huge, passionate, fan of sport particularly. But for some reason, it was the one time I used to see her animated, was watching Wales. In the, what was it, the 4 or 5 nations back then.
Yeah.
And some of the language, I mean, Jesus, it was like, really? It's only a game, Mum. Calm down, love. And she used to get very vocal about it.
I think mums are the craziest when you're watching sport.
Yeah.
Well, mine certainly was. You know, I think my dad was a little bit cooler and would sort of go off on his own to watch. So maybe behind the post, but mothers, wow.
Well,
They have a rattle, you could hear them.
You could hear, I was playing for Clechy at the time, and I could hear my mum in the stand.
Yeah.
Wow.
Literally. I could literally hear her in the stand, you know what I mean? There was 13,000 people there, but the only voice I could hear was a slightly pitched voice, different to everybody else's.
It can cut through the air, it can go through like 3 walls of your house.
Yeah.
It sounds like someone from Austin Powers. Scott!
Well, the funny thing is, she wouldn't come. So Craig then went to play for Cardiff, and I was playing for Clechy. So if we were there, she wouldn't come and watch us play. So she wouldn't let come and watch us play against each other. So it got a bit too much for her. And then so we were playing Clechy against Cardiff in Stradi. You might have played in that one. There was a game. Yeah, of course we went.
I didn't play.
And we were there, and me and Craig would sort of front up as come on, let's front up. And I was defending off the back of the line out. And Craig took a peel, so I've got to tackle him. So I'm going to tackle Craig. My brother's a lot bigger than me. As he was running, he caught his elbow under my chin and lifted me off the ground. So I thought, survival mode, innit? So what do you do? So I thought, well, I better hit him. So I hit him, bang. And then he landed on top of me, he hit me, I hit him, he hit me. This went on for about 5 seconds, but felt like about a minute. And what is the law of rugby is, if you're in the shit, what you do, everybody comes in and helps you.
Like 99.
So, yes, so everybody comes in. You don't leave your teammate on their own. So literally, after about 10 seconds, I looked at the Scarlett pack, I'd moved.
God.
Cardiff pack, I'd moved. Stephen Jones, I think he was knitting or something, out there. You were probably playing, you were probably moisturising. You know what I mean? Nobody had moved. So in the end, we just went, better get up. So we got up. And Nigel Whitehouse was the referee. Yeah. And I've never been so embarrassed in my life. 13,000 people in Stradi, absolutely quiet. And Nigel Whitehouse gets, you two, come here. So we walked over, and he looked at us, and he just said, boys, he said, what would your mother say now? I looked at Craig looked at me and went, sorry. And then we got back, and I've never heard 13,000 in Stradi laugh at the same time in my life. But so the sport and that type of thing. But the reason that we know each other is through golf. And you love your golf.
I love my golf. Yeah, I took up golf a sort of little bit later. We used to go on holiday to Wales a lot because of obviously family connections and stuff. So I used to play. We used to go to North Wales. We used to go to Harlech.
Harlech, I remember Royal St David's.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, never played there, but there used to be. I just always remember this little pitch and putt we used to go to.
Oh, don't play that one. Yeah.
And it's probably not there.
Underneath the castle.
I don't know. Yeah. Probably, and so it was sort of pitch and putt, and then there was little sort of 9-hole pitch and putt golf course near where I grew up in Harrow. So I started playing that, and then just got more and more into it, really. And then started sort of playing with the big golf clubs and, proper sort of...
And you remember now Richmond?
I remember Richmond, yeah. At Richmond, there's the stage, have a sort of room, which is where, all the trophies. And the history of the place is incredible. When you look on the board of the past presidents, it goes from people like Laurence Olivier back in 1948. And you've got people like Harry Seacombe and Roy Castle and all sorts of, and we've got one signature in this old book, which is Fred Astaire, when he came over in like the 1920s to do a tour or something, and he came and played golf down at Richmond. And so and Sean Connery was a member for many years.
You're joking?
Yeah. When I first, this is a true story. This is an absolutely true story. So when I first joined the Stage Golf Society, it was about the early 90s, 1993, I think I joined. And I was down at Richmond, and you know where the putting green is and the thingy, and I'm putting away, and I suddenly hear this voice, you know, sort of like that, you know, to this other actor, just, and I'm like, ooh. I look out, and he went, "Morning." I went, Sean Connery. He's playing with an actor called Michael Medwin and his son Jason. So they're in the group ahead of us, you know. They're 3 ball, we're a 3 ball behind. Anyway, there's a hole, the 12th hole is a long par 3, right? And then the 13th tee is just sort of behind to the left of the 12th. Yeah. So when you tee off on the 13th, you walk at the back of the 12th green, right? So you're quite close to it. So anyway, and you know the what do you call it? The thing is, if you hit the ball,
etiquette.
You know, etiquette. Thank you. You shout 4. Yeah. You know, because it's Sean Connery, right? And I hit this great tee-shot. I think I'm going to overshoot the green. It's heading towards Sean. I'm going to take out Bond. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I shout. This is actually true. I shout at the top of my voice, 4, Sean. Didn't bat an eyelid. No. Probably got a bit deaf by then.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you got the call, because obviously you've played international golf at the Celtic Manor.
Absolutely.
Because we've all played at the Celebrity Cup. Yeah. And we were lucky enough to represent Wales. Now, you could have played for England through your dad.
I could have.
And you could have played for Wales because your mum was born in Swansea. Was it a difficult decision to pick Wales?
No. Basically, it was like, you know, being a part-time Welshman. I thought, and we're playing in Wales, and my parents had moved back to, had moved back to Wales. I thought, you know, I don't think my mother would have forgiven me if I played. Do you know what I mean?
It's one of those. And at the Celebrity Cup, when we went there, we played in the winning. Ireland never won.
Do you remember?
They got so upset today.
But they could have won, but they celebrated too early, so they were literally up all night.
Yeah.
And it was like, are they going to show up on the tee? Yeah. Do you remember? I mean, and literally they turn up with like...
They had the wildest team.
Still with a drink in their hand, you know. And then they wonder why they'd lost. Do you know what I mean? Because it suddenly... the hangover suddenly sort of kicked in. Yeah. You know...
good times, weren't they?
Oh, it was great. Do you remember? I remember that when you and I were playing, and we had... on the last hole, I had the putt, and I missed the first one. And I was like, Scott, help!
You've got it! You've got it!
You've got it! And I don't think I was shaking like a leaf. Yeah. And then, thank God, it went in. Otherwise, it would have been my Doug Sanders moment
it's a massive
in the Open. You know what I mean?
You've done some amazing films and series, but
that was the
over
most
a 4-foot putt.
Yeah.
Is that the most nervous you've probably ever? Because when I played when I played rugby, when you're acting and when you play in rugby, you're winning World Cups.
Sure.
It's something you do, and it's a job, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's a job. But then when we get over a drive, or you know, you got to drive, and there's 2,000 people watching you want to drive, and you're like,
terrifying.
I can't do this.
Yeah. But I used to like it when they made a noise. I always remember seeing Ian Poulter do it at the Ryder Cup in America. And just get them all going. Do you know what I mean? So you just hide behind the noise.
Yeah, because that way, when you hit somebody, you couldn't hear the screaming. I
always think snooker would be better with noise.
Yeah, a bit of sound.
Yeah, just, you know.
What always used to get me was the introductions at the Celebrity Cup. One time I was playing with Gareth Bale. And me, and against Kenny Dalglish and Alan Hansen. And so the introductions went thus. It went like, would you please welcome footballing legend, Celtic, Liverpool, Mr. Kenny Dalglish. Hey, Kenny Dalglish. Footballing legend, Liverpool, Scotland, Mr. Alan Hansen. Hey, footballing legend from Wales, representing, you know, Tottenham and Real Madrid now. Biggest goal scorer, Gareth Bale. Hey! And actor Philip Glenister. Hang on. Excuse me.
Actually,
I have got a TV Quick Award, you know. You know what I mean?
I'm going to take you back a little bit now. Obviously, you come from a family that's been involved in TV. Your dad was a TV director, your older brother Robert was an actor. For you, was that always going to be your chosen path?
What, being an actor?
Yeah.
No, not at all. I always thought I'd end up in the business, in the industry, but I never thought I'd be in front of the camera. I always thought maybe behind it in some form. Still working on it, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was kind of by chance that I became an actor. My brother knew from a very early age that he wanted to be an actor. Literally when he was about 10 or 11, he just sort of was a member of the local youth theatre, and that was his thing. But I never really saw. I wanted to be a milkman originally.
Well,
I just thought the hours.
You still could.
I know. I still could. Exactly.
Yeah.
Do they still have milkmen?
It's obviously a.
I like the hours.
You like an early morning then?
Yeah, well, I just thought you'd be done by 8, 9 o'clock, and then you could
fair.
have the rest of the day off, stay at home and play with your toys. You know what I mean?
Go milk the cows.
That was my sort of thinking when I was sort of seven years old. Then I realised you have to get up at 2 in the morning. I was sod that. So it was kind of by chance I fell into. I always used to do a bit of drama at school. I remember playing Oliver when I was about 10 or 11. Because I was the skinniest, believe it or not, the skinniest, kid in the class. So they said, "Oh, you'd be Oliver."
I played the Ugly Duckling once.
Did you?
Yeah,
What a surprise!
Yeah, exactly.
How did you get into that role? What was the motivation for the role?
Just stared.
Did you base?
Like
you base it on a particular duck?
I looked in the mirror. That will do. That obviously turns into a swan. So
Exactly.
Which you never did.
Who did they bring in?
Who
did they bring in?
Yes.
Gar Thomas.
Yeah.
Gavin Henson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that wasn't the goal, how did
it come about?
Yeah, how did you get into it then?
Well, it was my originally what happened was I was out one Friday or Saturday night with mates, and a friend of mine's girlfriend was in an Amdram group in the Harrow area, and it was coming up to Christmas, and they were going to do a panto.
No, they weren't.
Oh, yes, they were. And everybody...
I can't have a story.
Behind you.
You got me.
And so it was one of those sort of slightly drunken bets, why don't you come be in the panto? You're quite funny. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. So I ended up being in this panto. And I remember I knocked over some of the scenery or something, and it nearly took out the first row of the Cub Scouts or something. I got a huge laugh, It's like, oh, there you go. And then one thing led to another, and then I started pimping myself out to different sort of amateur dramatic societies around the Harrow area. And then my brother at the time was married to an actress called Amanda Redman.
Yeah.
Amanda from New Tricks and stuff like that. And it was, she came to see me at something, and she said, you're quite good at this. And at the time I was working in the industry. I was a publicist. I was a film publicist.
How old were you?
I was 19, 20.
Oh, okay.
I was quite late,
Yeah.
And I was, it was an enjoyable job, but I didn't really see it as my future. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just, So, cut the long story short, one thing led to another. She said, I think you could do this. Have you thought? And I said, yeah, but, I'm not sure. 2 actors in a family. Christ, bad enough having one. She said, well, give it a go. Why don't you, I'll train you because, to get to drama school, that was the best way to do it, was go to a good approved drama school. And then you have to learn a Shakespeare, which I'd never done Shakespeare at my rubbish school, didn't do that sort of thing. And a modern piece. So she picked a Shakespeare and we got a modern piece. And I used to go, after work, I used to go around to Rob and Amanda's when they lived in Ealing and work on the speeches. And then I applied to various drama schools and then got offered a place at the Central School, which was... And I always remember a Sunday lunch when Amanda was around and she said to my dad, and she said, to my mum, she said, Phil's got some news, haven't you? And I was like, oh, God, because I hadn't told him, you see, I'd been putting it off. Right. Oh, God, what's their reaction going to be like? And so I said, yeah. And my dad said, what's that then? I said, I've been offered a place at drama school. And I always remember him, literally, he was eating his Sunday lunch, and he went, oh, no. Because I think he expected me to sort of say, he said, which one? And he thought I was going to say Mrs. Sidbook's sort of whatever. And I said, well, there's Central School. And he went, Central? Really? He was like that, really? I was like, yeah. And he went, oh, that's a good one. I said, hello.
It's the surprise.
And then he was fine after that.
Do you find it easy to learn the lines?
No.
How do you do it?
When you're younger, it's obviously a lot, and you're keen and you're new and you're excited, and then you go through, you get the script and you've been offered this part and you go, all these lines. Oh, great, I've got more lines and lines. Please give me more scenes. Oh, brilliant. Now, I'm like, please don't give me it.
Less is more.
Get a pen. Do that with a look. definitely do that with a look,
I could get away with a walker.
Oh, God, yeah. And as you get older, because the brain, it's one of it's the one thing I really, you have to force yourself.
Yeah.
It's like doing homework. It's like being back at school and, you're doing exams and you go and you revise, and it's just, you just have to, and it takes forever now because as you get older, the brain is...
And I'm assuming you obviously don't learn, if you've got a big old script, you learn it in sections, you do film that bit, you then learn the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, if I've got, if you've got like a big chunk and you find out, what I usually do, if I'm doing a TV, I'll get... the second AD or whoever it is in the office to say, look, can you just give me the lines for the following week? So I've just got all the scenes. Yeah. I've still got the script, but I just know
what
in advance.
Priority, what you're filming.
And then prioritise what I need to learn. Yeah. If I've got a big scene, I'll probably spend a week or two beforehand.
The hardest thing for me, when you get it, is that it's the pressure, you know what I mean? And you talk about the golf and everything. The pressure of walking into a room and say you've got to do a scene and you've got a monologue like that. And you say you break it up. You've got to do the lot, you know what I mean? Because then it's the time. And it's not letting everybody else down. The thing is that they've taken time to learn and to and you sit there and you go, right, well, I got to, you know what I mean? And I'm just a rugby player, but you've got to know your lines. If you don't walk into a scene, know your lines, everybody looks at you and goes, come on. I think that's for me is the hardest part.
Also, I find I'm not great with doing lots of takes. I don't like doing lots of takes.
First one's
because you lose the spontaneity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And also, I find that especially if you've got monologue, the more you say it, obviously you've got to do it a few times because you've got different angles and whatever. But the more you say it, the more it starts sounding like gobbledygook, like spaghetti, and then you start forgetting it because you think, it's weird.
We've obviously been acting for over 30 years.
Christ.
You must have seen a big, I know we touched on some of it, but a change in the industry over that time. What do you think is the biggest change you've seen?
The streamers, I think, definitely, with the way people watch telly now. It's very rare. For instance, it was certainly with having two daughters who are in their, one's 20 and one's 23, they tend to watch what they want, when they want, you don't, whereas I think when I was growing up in the sort of 70s, certain television was appointment TV, even though you had the sort of the VHS recorders coming in. We had, because my dad, being a director, we were quite lucky, we had gone quite early because he needed it for work. So it was always things like the Morecambe Wise Christmas show was always appointment TV, and everybody would sit round in the evening, Christmas evening, with the family and your relatives who were over. It was always, and because my dad had worked sort of kind of as a cameraman with Morecambe Wise, and my uncle was a producer who'd worked with Morecambe Wise, so it was always quite interesting to watch it slightly from the inside. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did they ever spoil the joke?
No. No, they didn't know. No, they didn't know what the show was how it was going to go out. I mean, this is kind of after they'd worked. So it was just so I think that sort of thing has changed.
It's been long enough now. It's been long enough.
Go on.
Ashes to Ashes, Life on Mars. Two of the best shows I've ever seen. This is.
You see, that's the other thing.
Why he's here.
You wouldn't get those made now. Wouldn't make them.
But the best. I absolutely, when I met you for the first time, came over to you, Gene Hunt, and your wife Beth was in series 3
of Ashes.
Of Ashes, and it was incredible. And you said earlier, never should there be two actors in the same family. You went and married her.
I don't know.
So
From being in that show?
No,
okay.
not before that. How do you think?
Yeah, no, we were married by then.
When did they spend some time
No,
together? Didn't
I
they?
just remember she had this scene with Keeley, and she was like, Beth was playing like a sort of dating bureau thing. So you back before online, obviously, when you actually went into somewhere and said, "I'd like to," I'd like to meet somebody, and we were trying to find somebody. And I remember Beth and Keeley had this really quite long scene, and I just had to come in at the very end, and I still remember my line. So they'd done all the hard work, learning the lines and the scene and all that, and I walked in at the end, opened the door and said, "All right, I'm looking for love. You got any?" That was it. Stole the whole scene with 2 lines. Yeah. And they'd done all the hard work.
But it's all in the setup.
Oh, there's certain lines that you
all
can
in the setup.
pull from your head like that.
Yeah, there's some that I've also completely forgotten. For instance, somebody, what was it? Somebody, oh, that's right. I was doing a podcast. They wanted something for their charity, so I took an old script from Ashes to Ashes, which I hadn't read for ages, and I started looking through it, and I was like, Christ, did I say that? Yeah. And I suddenly was like, Jesus, no wonder they wouldn't make it now. I mean, some of it was a bit sort of,
So when you got that script through, the first one...
A Life on Mars.
Yeah, when you got that through, did you... Because for me, the 2 series are absolutely incredible. Do you know it was going to be something special?
No. I remember... I do remember exactly where I was when I got the phone call from my agent. I was walking from the car park of the golf club to the clubhouse to go and have coffee and a bacon sarnie. Suddenly the phone, it says agency. You think, I better take it. Yeah. Hello. And it was my agent, Ginny. She said, she did a chat. She said, right, I'm sending you a script. And I said, okay, what's it called? She says, Life on Mars. And I said, oh, okay. I said, what is it, sci-fi? She went, well, she said, I'm not sure, I haven't read it yet, but she said, the only thing they've told me is it's a cross between Back to the Future and the Sweeney.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, sounds interesting. Right. So I said, okay, all right. And then sent me the script, I think, on email. And then I started reading it. And the first, 15, 16 pages, it was just like a sort of procedural police drama,
The setup,
Yeah. And they were like, what's Back to the Future and the Sweeney? Where's this going? Then suddenly you get to the scene where Sam Tyner gets out of his car, gets run over, wakes up in 1973, and it pans back, you see the Mancunian Way coming soon, which is built. And then suddenly you're like, oh. And then you get the first introduction with Gene Hunt. Yeah. And then you get that first scene where, suddenly you hear him coughing because he's hungover, whatever. And then you get John going, this is my computer. And he just comes out and he grabs him, shoves him against the the cabinet. And, said, my name's Gene Hunt, and it's 1973, it's almost dinner time. I'm having oops. And that was like, welcome to the Gene Hunt world.
Oh. And it was so good because even at that time, 2005, everything was prim proper, and you think you go to grab somebody, just give them the proper old school policing, and he brought that old school policing back into the modern world.
Well, that was the idea, was to show this contemporary modern policeman working with the old school, and it was meant to be. It was designed to sort of it was just reflection on the time and the 70s, and having grown up in the 70s, it was kind of suddenly quite a laugh. And John and I always used to talk about it. Said, well, whatever happens, at least we can turn around and say we've been in the 70s police show. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because that's what it did feel like when we were filming it. In the studio, all the props. We'd have the prop table. We'd have an old TV Times with just the TV, couple of channels. And be going through that, going, oh my God, Black Beauty, 5 o'clock Sunday.
Black Beauty.
I remember that. All the Persuaders, 3 o'clock after the big match. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It was like sort of incredible. Yeah.
Was it one of your favourite roles? Do you think?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, it's sort of. I think it was definitely for all of us. I think it was all, for John as well. It was a sort of breakthrough moment, really. But on the sort of negative side of it, whenever once we'd stopped doing the show, anytime my name was mentioned to play a detective in it, wouldn't get a look in. because it's like, no, he's Gene Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember
So it's been hard in a way then?
Well, yeah, it's taken a long time to shake off because I remember talking to a friend of mine, Jed Mercurio, who writes Line of Duty.
Yeah.
And I play golf with Jed, and I was talking to him about it, and I said, you know, well, I said it's a bit frustrating because I don't get. And he said, yeah, well, because you're too iconic.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, well, so is Ted Hastings in your Line of Duty.
Yeah.
And Jed looks at me and he goes like, not as iconic as you.
Because he hates bent coppers, doesn't he? That's his thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate. Oh, I won't do the accent because
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
I nearly did it.
Yeah,
then.
you nearly did.
Yeah. But it's yeah.
So it's been detrimental in the success of
you know,
that.
the first detective I played since not playing Gene Hunt was Steeltown Murders.
Oh yeah, I know what
And
a show
that was done only a couple of years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
Do you know what I
That's
mean?
a long time, isn't it?
And I was like, look, you know.
But that was back in the
I'm an
80s
actor.
as well, wasn't it?
That was, well, in 70s and 2000s.
Sorry, yes,
But I
70s.
obviously I didn't do the 70s one.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a bit weird.
Yeah.
It was Scott.
That was-
Young actor Scott, who played the younger version of me.
Yeah,
Great.
that was, you must.
Scott Arthur.
But so when you got that script, were you like, yes, finally, Gene Hunt, I can
Yeah,
put him aside.
well, it was. I remember sort of being offered it, and I thought, oh, this is great for two reasons. I can, you know, do Welsh, filming in Wales, so I could be near the family, which is nice, and obviously the subject matter was
what did Mum make of your Welsh accent?
Oh, she was all right. Well, you know, I'm a part-time, aren't I?
I don't know. The
I
thing
love
is,
accents.
you've gone into Michael Douglas. He's gone to America.
Sean
He goes,
Connery.
Sean Connery.
What's
I'm
your
not even
best
thought
one?
about
Your
it.
best accent, if you had to lead with one, because your Sean Connery one was...
Oh, God, what, you mean impression-wise?
Yeah, an impression or accent. I think it's such an amazing
I
talent.
sort of have, obviously there's the Michael, everybody, I did have a Michael Caine standoff with Phil Cornwall once. You know, Phil Cornwall
Yeah.
did Stella Street.
Yeah.
We were in a hotel in Manchester. He was doing a show, I was doing a show. We used to stay at the V&A. It was great because all the different shows would be in. So you'd have the Grimleys over there and Clocking Off over there and all these, you know, Stella Street, whatever they were. And I remember staying at the bar and we were just chatting with Phil Cornwall. I think he'd been in an episode of Clocking Off. We were having a drink and we just started doing the, you know, the Michael Caine.
Michael.
I'd be like,
real nasally.
I think that you do the Michael Caine when he was younger, and it was a bit more sort of like that. You know, you're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. But as he's got older, you know, he's sort of become a bit more like that Master Wade, you know.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and it's all sort of got,
Amazing.
you know, a bit like that now, you know. Because he's getting on now,
Yeah.
he's retired, you know. Because as he used to say, you see, Scott, the movies, you don't retire from the movies retire you. You know?
Honestly,
that's
it's like
amazing.
being there. It's like being there.
So I used to do it, and then you've got Roger Moore who'd be like, I like it already. And it was Bond, James Bond. But there was my favourite line in the Bond films is Moonraker.
Yeah.
Which is not the best Bond film.
It's
but
not bad.
It's this great line, and because I think I used to love Roger Moore. I met him once actually. I'll tell you a story afterwards. It was very funny, and he never took himself seriously. He was but he was actually a very good.
Yeah.
He was that sort of that light comedy. Yeah. He was fantastic. People like Cary Grant and people like that, you know. But there was this line where he's just beating up Jaws, you know, on the cable car in
That's
Rio.
right,
Do you remember? And he's hanging on, and Lois thing he looks about. He said, "James, just hang on." And he looks up with his hand and he goes, "The thought had occurred to me." Great line.
It's an incredible scene, isn't it? Jaws meets his girlfriend. Then.
Yes, exactly.
She's
In
about 4
space.
foot, yeah.
I mean, that's when it all started. It was a great film up to that point.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you got the baddie, what was his name? Drax, that's
yeah.
right. And he just sort of, in the chateau in America, in California, he says, please show Mr. Bond around and see that some harm comes to him.
It's amazing.
Great lines, you know?
Oh, this is
And
just...
this
is like
now.
Christmas.
I
This
know.
is
See,
just
I
like
miss
Christmas.
this with the new Bonds now. They're just sort of... I love the humour was so important.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And Roger Moore's, it was more humorous than a lot of the others were there. But that was the skill they had. Is that, Roger, Sean Connery was a bit more buff on him, a bit more buff,
absolutely.
a little bit more sexable. Then you got that, and then you got the comedy. And
you had George Lazenby. This never happened to the other fella. And with the titles, he gets beaten up. He looks at the camera and he goes, "This never happened to the other fella."
I've liked all the Bonds.
Little Australian.
Honestly, I've liked all the Bonds.
Yeah.
Like, I think they've all been awesome. In
Actually, Pierce Brosnan, right?
Yeah.
I watched it the other day. It was brilliant.
Bond.
Absolutely.
James Bond.
But then, I think
I played Pierce Brosnan in Mamma Mia for Comic Relief.
Oh, did you?
We did Jennifer Saunders.
Oh, did the singing thing?
They did a spoof of Mamma Mia for Comic Relief, and they asked me to come and play Pierce Brosnan. And Alan Carr was what do you call it? Colin.
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth.
Yeah.
So you got Alan Carr being sort of like this, you know. Yeah, no, he's a Swede. He's a turnip. No, he's a Swede. Who's a Swede? He's not. He's a turnip.
I'm a faithful.
Yeah, I'm a faithful.
He did have like a kipper though, didn't he?
He was amazing.
If that doesn't win TV Moment of the Year, I don't know.
Be either that or Celia Imrie farting.
Yes. Do you know Celia?
I always own up.
Do you know? Oh my God, she was amazing.
Canada Girls.
She was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, she's brilliant. She's such a lovely
Canada
lady.
Girls, of course. You can sit here for the Canada Girl must have been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's scary. It was quite scary, because when we did the actual calendar shoot, we did that at Shepperton Studios, and all the ladies, they were all of a certain age, but they got their kit off, basically. And, it was done very much like the real calendar was. Yeah. So we had a very close set, but they were so supportive of each other. And Celia was brilliant because she was kind of the ringleader. She was like, "Right, girls, we're all going to have some pink bubbles." Literally, they get the bubbles out, and I'd be like, she went, "No, you're the photographer. You've got to be sober. You're not, unless you want to go topless, Philip." And we did a lot of bit of ad-libbing in those scenes and things, and it was, it was great.
But Roger Moore, you can tell us about
Roger Moore, sorry. So, Roger Moore, when he was doing the Saint, he used to live in an area called Stanmore, which was next to Harrowweald, where I grew up, so it was quite close. And so when we were kids, we used to sort of go and hang out and just sort of wait for Roger to come home from the Saint, whatever. And I can't really remember too much about it, but I always remember we used to have, in my brother's bedroom, we used to have little sort of signed sort of 10 by 8 or whatever it is by Roger Moore, with the halo, the Saint.
Yeah.
And then I was at the Empire Awards back in about 2006. One of my favourite programmes as a kid was The Persuaders with Tony Curtis and Roger Moore. And they were honouring Tony Curtis with an outstanding, achievement award, and they got Roger to present it to him. Oh. And it was fantastic. So they played, and I was like in bits. So I'm there with my agent and a friend, and we're on this table with Roger's assistant, this guy called Gareth, who was very sweet. So they started playing the Persuaders theme music, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is my youth!" And my agent, bless her, Jilly, who's no longer with us, but God, I miss her. And she turned around and she said, "Are you Roger's assistant?" He went, "Yes." She went, "My client, Philip, who's a very fine actor." She said, "Yes, I know Philip." He said, "Well, he's a big fan of Roger's. Can we arrange to sort of say hello directly?" He went, "Oh, sure, that's possible." So anyway, Gareth goes over, and Roger comes over, and I'm introduced to him. And I sort of said, "Oh, Roger, it's lovely to meet you." And he said, "Very nice to meet you." And I said something like, I said, back in the day, you used to live in Church Road in Stanmore." And he said, "I did." I said, "Well, I used to live in Harrowweald, and we used to go and hang out, a bit silly really, but we were kids, I was big fans." And he was like, "So you were my stalker?"
Stick to Rugby, brought to you by Defender.
We all played sport, Phil, for, 10, 15 years. And we'd go through periods where it was quite quiet sometimes. It's hard to have 15 brilliant years or 10 brilliant years of sport. And you go through dips of form a little bit. Did you ever find that with acting? Were there quiet periods where you sort of question yourself a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think like anything, when you sort of start off and you just want to work, you want to make a living, really. You don't set out to think, oh, I want to be a star or I want to be a celebrity. I've always thought that's the worst. It's like I've always said it with politicians, just the desire to be a politician should ban you from life.
Being a politician.
And it's a bit like, just to be a desire to be a celebrity should ban you from life, whatever you want.
Very good point, man.
You know. So it was just a question of really making a living. And then I suppose, I worked consistently. I was a sort of good jobbing actor. I still think I'm a jobbing actor. We all are at the end of the day. I like Nigel Havers', he calls himself an envelope actor. Because basically any script that comes through the envelope, he does.
Yeah.
It was fair enough. And so it was, I suppose, then the thing that took it to the next level was obviously Life on Mars and Ashes and that character. And that was kind of weird to begin with, because suddenly you're being photographed by the paparazzi in the street without even knowing. And you just think, I was photographed at the golf club once, and the headline was "Life on Pars."
Oh no!
And I was playing.
You wish.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, take it.
And you thought, how the hell have they taken it? It's a golf club. I mean, it's quite sort of enclosed.
Especially Richmond is, yeah.
They must have been in the park and just on a long lane. Anyway.
Probably those trees down the fifth.
Yeah, and then. They started. I think at one point my phone might have been hacked because I remember. That's right. This is quite a good story. It's a true story. And I was being followed by, I don't know whether it was a newspaper or one of the celebrity magazines, And it was like, it's a weekend. I've got Saturday and Sunday off. I'm filming Ashes during the week. I'm knackered. I've got the children are small. And I just thought, you just want to chill out, you know what I mean? So I just thought, why are they following me? What are they going to get? So I said to my wife, I said to Beth, right, let's just go and bore them into, show how boring our lives are at the weekend with small children. Yeah. So we went to Pizza Express in Richmond, and I just said, we'll have an extra long lunch today, You
didn't sweat?
Didn't sweat.
No.
Anyway, did all that, and then I drove back, and I said, oh, right, I'll drop you at the park, you walk back, and I'll take the kids to the Swings, which is around in Petersham. There's a little sort of cul-de-sac. So I thought I'd shaken this van off. And it's something very sinister about it. It's sort of blacked out windows of this sort of Ford Galaxy with those vans, And suddenly this bloody van appears in the cul-de-sac. And I'm just thinking, right, I've had enough of this. So I pull up and he sort of in the window down. I said, what do you want? I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, you're following me. Why? And he went, I'm not. I said, well, you are, because you've just followed me from Richmond. I saw you opposite the... Now you're here in this cul-de-sac, and there's nowhere to go. So why are you here? Anyway, he sort of said, look, I work for whatever. And I said, look, with respect, if you wanted to see me falling out of a nightclb, you're kind of 20 years too late. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Sort of, I've got these little photos now, and it's boring. So if you want to take a picture of me, just take it and go. And he went, oh, he said, don't worry. He said, I'm sorry, just doing my job. And I was like, great fucking job. And he said, by the way, he said, how did you know I was following you? And I looked at him and I went, well, believe it or not, I play fucking detective. And he went, oh yeah, all right, fair point. Buggered off.
How did you deal with all the fame that came?
Well, it wasn't as...
Did it affect you or your family at all?
No, not really. I mean, because I think if you play the game, if you open yourselves up and sort of invite OK Magazine, come and see my house and show you around and pay me, If you sort of...
Shy away from that.
Yeah, if you play to that and that's what you want, then I think, there's legitimate reason for the press to sort of pry into your life a little bit, But if you actively don't seek it, which I never did, and I think you have an absolute right to privacy. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's just a job. I'm not Gene Hunt, I'm Philip Glenister. I play a role with Gene Hunt. It was good fun to play, but I'm not him. Do you know what I mean? And it's just what I do. I'm an actor at the end of the day.
Do you watch, because a lot of the actors don't watch anything that they were in. Are you one of those where you know it's on and you go, oh, tell you what, I've got something to do?
Yeah, no, I don't. I hate watching myself.
Yeah, it's funny. It's
sort of getting older and fatter, and it's just like, really? Oh God. You know, maybe I should, incentive to sort of, like, right, I need to, you know. But no, I tend, I did watch Steeltown Murders. I watched that because I was very proud of it. It was a great script and it was, you know, I say great, it was a very difficult, dark script, you know, because I didn't know anything about the Llandarcy murders.
It's incredible, eh?
Yeah. And it
I don't think a lot of people did a long time when it came out.
And the weird thing is, every time I go to Wales, you know, even before I did it, I used to see that sign when you're going back from, you know, coming out from Swansea, going back onto the M4, just before you get to the M4, you got that sign to, you know, past the Amazon thing, you got that sign to Llandarcy. And you know, think, oh my God, that's...
It's incredible, isn't it? Well, the Pembrokeshire Murders was one that I hadn't seen. Keith Allen was in...
Keith was in that.
Was in that one. I saw him the other day and I said, God,
Luke Evans was in it as well.
And I went, oh my God, it didn't, you know, it didn't really... He said it's incredible, absolutely incredible. And that's what these things... Well, you look at the power of television and you have a look at the post office scandal. And how, if it wasn't for that series... then I don't think they would be getting the compensation now. And it shows the power that
it's really interesting. I remember working with a writer years ago, Pete Bowker, and he was saying in an interview, and he was sort of said, you know, in a funny sort of way, he said, you'll probably find more truth in a television drama, believe it or not, now than you will in the mainstream media. And, you know, with everything going on with fake news and AI, you know, you don't know what to believe, but at least with a television or a film, with a drama, yes, you can have things that are slightly sort of, you know, whatever, but ultimately, when you're telling a true story like Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, that's it. That's the story. These are the victims. These are the people. And this is what's happened. And you haven't, you suddenly go, why hasn't this not been in the mainstream media? And suddenly, the mainstream media go, we better do something about it. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think I've ever been so angry after watching one thing in my life after seeing the conclusion of that and going, this is a disgrace.
I thought you were going to say Wales, South Africa then, 73-0.
I've got to be honest with you. I know it was a month ago, but I still can't talk about it. We were lucky to get nil, weren't we?
Can you take minus points?
Don't. I still can't talk about it. There we are.
No, but I know what you mean. You know, I was like, when I was watching the Inquiry, you know, bits of the Inquiry, and seeing these people, this is outrageous. You know, how dare you? How dare you? You know,
and a one individual can affect so much. It's absolutely incredible. Let's cheer ourselves up. Let's cheer ourselves up. It's new year.
What are your projects you're working on right now?
Well, I've just this last year, 2025 in the summer, I've done 2 series which are due out any time from January, I think, New Year. One called The Lady, which I'm only doing a small part in that. Played a policeman actually.
You really have broken away from
it. Exactly. Well, it's actually...
Look at my range.
Yeah, exactly. I'm from London this time. But it's a true story. It's based on this woman called Jane Andrews, who was kind of personal dresser to Fergie, to Sarah Ferguson. Back in the late 90s, early, and she came from very humble beginnings. Anyway, she ended up killing her boyfriend. I've
got to be honest with you, that took a twist I didn't see coming. I thought it was all going to be all about puffs.
I think I can say that because it's quite it's a true story. So it's known. So it's quite a sort of interesting sort of story. You got a wonderful young actress called Mia McKenna Bruce playing Jane Andrews and Natalie Dormer, who was in House of Thrones, playing Fergie.
The Tudors as well.
That's right. And I'm playing the sort of investigative police officer who took on the case, basically. So that's coming out as a 4-parter. And then the other thing, I've done a 2nd season of something called After the Flood, which we do up north, which is sort of self-explanatory, really. You know, a bit of water involved. No, so it's a sort of series basically about the environment a little bit, and I play this character called Jack, who's sort of a businessman, and he's sort of been turned over by a corporation headed by a character played by Alan Armstrong. So we've done the second season of that, and that will be out sometime soon as well.
Am I going to be really angry after that to find out that you've been turned over or something?
No, well, wait and see.
Oh, look at that. Oh, look, see that. Yeah,
like a pro.
See that then.
Gonna lure you in.
Right. So if there's one, just before we finish, and is there one thing out there you'd think would do anything to play that?
Oh, do you know what? I would love to have done a revamp of The Persuaders back in the day, but I'm too old now. But if they did revamp it, I could play the judge. They used to have this great character called Judge Fulton.
Yeah.
And he basically brought them together, nitro and glycerine. and he brought, so that would... I think they should remake The Persuaders, because it was very glamorous. They shot it in like south of France, and Italy, and do you know what I mean? It was the first sort of really big budget telly show, and they had the best cars.
Yeah.
You know,
because you've got a love for cars as well.
Yeah, well, Roger had the old Aston Martin, the DBS, banana yellow DBS, and Tony Curtis had the Ferrari Dino. I mean, what's not to like?
But Gene Hunt had the Audi Quattro.
And the Cortina Mark III.
Yeah. Two good
They'd
cars.
be worth something now, wouldn't they? Wow.
Oh, yeah, they'd be worth a fortune.
That was the other thing. People used to come up to me, so that thing was, you'd never heard it before. I remember one guy, I was walking down my road, and this car went past, and it reversed, and he did a 3-point turn, he came back down, wound the window down. I thought he was going to ask directions. He went, fire up the Quattro, and I went... and then drove off. Yeah. Did all that.
Yeah.
To just tell me, I'd never heard it before. Do you know what I mean? I was
probably giggling to himself all the way.
I'll remember, that's really funny.
Can you imagine what Bruce Forsyth was like then? There must be one car.
There's a soft shoe shuffle with Sammy Davis Jr. I tell you, there's a fantastic, my mate Max Beasley, so you've got to see it, I think you get it on YouTube. Max does a fantastic, he's very good at impressions, Max. He does a fantastic Bruce Forsyth. And he was filming a show with Jason Manford and Michelle Keegan, and Jason Manford filmed Max ordering a Nando's as Bruce Forsyth.
Yeah.
So he's sort of on the phone, and he's going like, "Listen, Tess, darling, what do you want? Do you want some fries with those chips, darling? Do you want some chips? And what do you want to drink? A tango? Do you want to we'll have a waltz as well, I think, my darling, you know." It's hysterical.
And
it's brilliant, though, isn't it?
And all the Nando's person just go, one tango, quarter chicken. Yeah, quarter chicken. You want a quarter chicken? You want a full one? It's hysterical. Very funny.
Oh, fabulous. Well, it's been absolutely brilliant. But it is New Year's Eve, so it's that time of year, isn't it? It's that time of year. It is New Year's resolutions.
Oh, I thought you were going to say crack open the champagne.
Well, before that, it's in the script. It's in the script.
Get the bubbles, darling. That's the bubbles.
That's like little Britain, isn't it? Call me Bubbles, darling. Everybody does.
Got any New Year's resolutions?
Oh God.
You know what? I'm not a fan of New Year. I'm going to be a grump.
Oh, are you? Do you like Christmas better though? Or just the whole festive period? The problem with January is, you've got to pay your tax at the end of Jan. And you always think, why do they time it like that?
Yeah.
I mean, they are bastards. It is Christmas. Here's your tax bill. If you don't pay it after the 31st, we're going to charge you by the day. Okay? It's like, So in terms of New Year, and the other thing is, my idea of the perfect New Year is to just be in at home, preferably on my own. The kids will usually go out because they're still young and enjoy it. We'll take away curry, bottle of wine, and I just watch some old movies. I don't watch any sort of, I can't be doing, I'm in bed by about 11 usually, because I just find this whole thing of people going, Happy New Year, 2026, happy, and you just know it's going to be another miserable bastard year. Nothing's going to change.
Should we just stay in? Should we just stay in? 2026, just stay in.
Yeah.
See you in 2027.
Yeah. Perfect. Don't pay your tax
I know,
bill.
it's awful. It's such a Grinch thing.
Well,
anyway, on that bombshell.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Other than that, have a great New Year.
Phil, thank you so much. What an episode.
Right, should we order that curry? Should we order that curry?
Yeah, come on.
Let's order that curry.